компания Paparazzi в отеле Sheraton в Лос-Анджелесе, и сейчас мы будем снимать рекламу для этого ресторана, собственно, со мной в главной роли. Welcome to the Paparazzi Restaurant and Chop House. Столица развлечений, город грез и исполнения надежд. Лос-Анджелес знаменит как крупнейший в мире центр киноиндустрии. Недаром сюда стремятся звезды, а там, где звезды, там всегда рядом кто? Правильно. Стать ценным папарацци на самом деле требует множества умений и очень много терпения. Наилучший фотограф звезд является частично политиканом, частично независимым бизнесменом и частично секретным агентом. У них всегда множество контактов и денежных расходов. Они постоянно находятся в жесткой конкурентной среде, и да, они на самом деле знают, как сделать качественную фотографию. Сегодня я возьму интервью у аса этого дела, одного из самых известных папарацци в Лос-Анджелесе. Герой Flores, который, собственно, и является папарацци тем самым.
Also, you're interviewing me
So
today?
yeah. So, how it happened that you got the restaurant named after you?
Basically, they looked for me online. They found me, and they wanted to use some of my photographs. Eventually, I started working on my book, and I finished it, and I pitched it to them, and it became a reality.
How did you start doing this? How did you start shooting stars?
It kind of fell by mistake. Like everything, it always happens by chance. And what ended up happening was that I was working as an engineer, and one day a mutual friend that I had with a paparazzo came up to her and said, if you could find me any photographer that will do this job for 3 months, I will give you $2,000 as a reward to my friend. And so she said, well, she needed money, and I was working as an engineer, so I was making good money. And I said, you know what, I'll do the favor. 3 months is 3 months, it's
Just
not going
for
to take
fun?
too long, just for fun.
Oh, nice.
And so what ended up happening is that he took me on a ride of my life, basically. I was in the passenger seat, and for 2 weeks he gave me a tour of Los Angeles and how everything worked. By then I didn't even really understand what celebrity meant. I really didn't pay attention to anybody. And eventually I started learning the skill, and he showed me everything that needs to do this job, and I found out that I was really, really good at it.
I saw your book. It's really amazing. Tell us about your book.
I started basically documenting my experiences on my website called Paparazzi Media. And so in there I was writing my stories of how I was capturing these photographs. And eventually it became the idea that I was going to take those same stories and implement them into my book. However, the difference between this book and my website is that over here I actually hid certain messages regarding the industry. Like, for example, I teach you what equipment you should use.
Mm-hmm.
I teach you about the respect issue, the relationship that exists between a celebrity and a photographer. And I go beyond than just the story.
What is your favorite star to work with?
One of my favorite stars was Gwen Stefani.
Uh-huh.
Because she has always been the coolest person ever, especially with photographers. She totally understands it, she gets it, she knows how to promote her products, and she's easygoing, always photographs well.
And what was the most difficult to work with?
The most difficult is obviously the hardest person to get, which are like the Leonardo DiCaprio's and Jennifer Aniston's. Those are always the hardest persons to get. It's just because they tend to go out of their way so that we don't capture any of their images.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you feel lazy sometimes?
Absolutely.
How do you fight it?
Basically, I roll my pillow into a nice little ball and go to sleep.
Just allow it, right?
You don't fight it, you just go with it.
Just go with it, and
Yeah.
then it goes with.
Yes.
That's a nice way, by the way.
Yes.
That's very nice. I know that you have a lot of other things that you actually do except for being a paparazzi, right?
Mhm.
What are those things?
Well, I own obviously 2 businesses. one of the businesses is owning a photo agency, a large photo agency here in Los Angeles, and we syndicate or distribute material of photographers all over the world. So we sell it to people, to Life and Style, to Us Weekly, and so forth. Also, on the side, I have a company called Living Green Planters, and what I do is I build planters for healthy living, so that you could grow your own vegetables and your own herbs, and and eat healthy.
Wow, that's great. So you look like a really successful person, and I think you can say something really inspirational for people who are watching this vlog. What would it be? What would be the message for them?
One of the things is never give up. Even though certain things look like may not be going your way necessarily, always keep pushing forward, and eventually it's going to happen. It's all about your way of thinking, and if you think it's going to happen, it's going to happen.